Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So this is part two in the Q&A questions that have been asked about Christopher Watts and the Christopher Watts case. And I went back through every single video that I did on this entire series. And I looked for questions that have been asked multiple times, even though that I have answered them, that don't seem to have been addressed, or at least addressed to the satisfaction of a lot of people out there who ask their questions. So let's jump into it. So the first question is, why would these women want to support emotionally and financially a confessed killer like Christopher Watts? It's a very good question. And I will have to say right off the bat, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychotherapist. I can't really 100% give you the answer to that question. I can give you what I have asked others who have studied serial killers and other killers. I have asked people who are in the psychology and therapy, line of employment, and I asked my wife and two of her professors who, because my wife is getting her master's degree in psychology. So I asked them, why do these women fall in love, support people who are confessed killers? So first off, this comes from the Abnormal Psychology 7th edition by Ronald Comer. For those who think that this is an old, outdated textbook, this textbook was printed in 2016. It is the newest version that they are currently still using in the at the university where my wife goes to school. She bought this last semester. $267. Okay. By going through the two chapters that they told me to pay attention on and focus on about why these women may do this, it boils down to the following, basically, along with some other notes that I've written down here. They may have several different reasons that why they do what, fall in love or look for, and fall in love with someone who is an unattainable relationship partner. That's what it boils down to. These these ladies and men, they fall in love with somebody who is unattainable. It's not someone who's 7,000 miles away. It's still attainable. There's a chance that somehow they could find a way to meet, in the middle of that 7,000 miles. But someone is doing life without the possibility of parole and knows they will never get out of prison, that person is unattainable. And there are a lot of reasons why they seek out these kind of relationships, some of them consciously, some of them unconsciously. They may have some of the following: a mood disorder. They may be delusional, as in to the fact that this person is actually guilty and that they will never get out. Depression, safety concerns for their own personal well-being, personality disorder, antisocial behavior. They may be grieving the loss of a loved one or significant other. Culture of abuse and neglect to themselves, where other people abused them or neglected them, and emotionally they're damaged, but they're still good people. Inhibitions, with several different types of issues with inhibitions, and depersonalization disorders. And that is, in a nutshell, why some of these people fall in love with those they know will never get out of prison. It's a safety issue, and it's a personality issue. They know that this person, they're always going to know where they are. They're always going to know what they're doing. And they're always going to know that this person will not be able to physically or sexually hurt them in any way. And that's what it boils down to. That's the answer to why do some of these men and women fall in love with prisoners who will never get out. They are doing life without the possibility of parole plus, 100, 400 years on top of that. Still a good question, though. Next question. Do you believe there was ever anyone in the driveway that morning besides Christopher Watts? By the way that the question has been asked multiple times to me, it's asking me from my own personal view. And my own personal view is no. I don't believe there was ever anybody else in that driveway. Now, I base that on the following. I paid for that video, the unedited version that was sold from the neighbor to the news studio. I got an unedited version of that. It's actually a couple of seconds longer. It's about 13 seconds longer before when Christopher Watts first tripped the sensor and when he left. I had that video forensically examined by not one, but two separate companies that are world renowned, and they work in cases all over the world in CCTV footage, and that's what they specialize in. Is forensically analysis of CCTV and video and audio, and they also both these companies who are independently separate. One is in the United States, one's in the UK. They also specialize in handwriting analysis, and stuff for forgery cases. But both of them came back independently, not knowing that I sent the video to either one of them, and I've got the reports back from both of them, and they match pretty much, exactly. And they don't see anything in the video. The Frederick Police Department, the CBI, the FBI did not find anything of value in that video. Believe me, if they would have found something else in that video, they would have went after whoever they believed might have been in that video. A lot of it comes down to people want to see, they come in with a predetermined notion that there must have been somebody there, or they thought they saw something, so their mind, they're not telling, going in thinking that there's somebody else in the driveway. Their mind says, there's something there I can't explain, and then somebody else says, well, it's another person. And they say, well, wait a minute, that could be it. There could be another person moving in the shadows there. So, and it fills in the gaps in the logic stream. So they believe everything that person is actually saying, yeah, okay, it's another person there. I see it now. Now that you say that, I see it. And if you go to their videos and their comment streams and their live streams and everything else, you will see over and over again when the person who put that video out, the first person, I should say, put it out, and everybody else was commenting. They're like, oh yeah, now that you say that, I see that. And they determined that it was a major piece of evidence that should be examined. Believe me, before that video ever got released to the media, to me, to anybody out there, it was combed through, completely combed through. Every bit of evidence was combed through. If there was enough evidence to charge someone, or they really believed that there was somebody else there, they would have went after him. Again, I personally, based on the evidence that I've seen and the reports that I've read, the reports that I've paid for from two independent firms, no, I don't believe there was ever anybody else in that driveway. Next question. But thank you again for the question, though. Why didn't he just walk away, get a divorce, instead of killing the family? I can't even tell you the thousands of times that I've gotten this one. And it doesn't matter. I can explain it to you really quickly here, and it's going to come back. I know it is. I'll see it in the comment section here. I'll see it. Somebody will pop up in a week and ask me on another video. Why didn't he just walk away? The type of person who Christopher Watts is, he looks like a normal individual from the outside. Everybody wants him to be a normal individual from the outside and in the inside. We want him to be the middle class, father raising his family, working hard, going through the struggles that we go through day to day, the stress and everything else. We want him to be that person, to live that life, to be that person, to, somehow lift himself up from where he was and do better for his kids. We want him to be that person. We want him to be the person, if everything just kind of went to hell and the two of them drifted apart like he tried to make it out to be, we want him to be the person who says, okay, you know what, the next logical step is to file for a divorce. We want that. But that's not who Christopher Watts is. That's not who a lot of these family annihilators are. They can't do that. Again, for the last time, everybody who looks in at the family, friends, family, co-workers, everybody who looks in at the family, who knows the family, the annihilator takes all that in, and then they push themselves down with it. They see it as everybody judging them personally, and because they're judging them, they're hurting the family. And the family is suffering just as much as they are internally. And they can't just walk away and leave their family suffering. They really believe that the children, the wife, and anybody else in that immediate household is suffering. And they can't walk away from it. And I've asked so many people about this, and I've had so many conversations about it. It's really depressing. And again, the only thing that can ever you can't be talked into it. It didn't matter if Nicole Kissinger told him every damn day, from the moment that they met until he actually did it, to kill your family, kill your family. She did it every day, it wouldn't have changed a damn thing in his mind. Because again, he can't be talked into it, and he couldn't be talked out of it. The only way that you can stop a family annihilator is hoping that something nudges them off the track and they go in a different direction. And that they're able to look in hindsight at the fact that, you know what, I was really messed up. That nobody was punishing the family. It was me. Because they can't internalize things. It's kind of like a sociopath. He has no empathy for others out there. A family annihilator has empathy for everyone in every situation. They're just like me and you. They can feel and they can share emotions and everything else, but they really truly feel inside that the world around them is punishing them, and it's hurting their family, and they're suffering, and they need to die. That's the truth. Read about family annihilators, and you're gonna it's gonna blow your mind that these people are in our society right now today. They could be living right next door to you. They could be Ed in the cubicle next to you, or Steve the janitor, or Sue Ellen, the lady in accounting. These people are everywhere, and it's not just men. It's men and women equally. That for what they know in studies across the world, that these people are in all walks of life, poor, rich, middle class, men and women. It's the same, unfortunately. And we're going to see more and more and more and more of them down the road. And look, since Christopher Watts, we've had Timothy Jones Jr., we had Michael Wayne Jones Jr., we had both of the Joneses, and they did the same thing. They annihilated their entire families. And that was within 6 months, 8 months of this entire thing happening. And we're going to keep on seeing it. It's going to happen over and over and over again. Because there's something in society that I don't know, maybe we bred out that one logical part of people's brains. I don't know what it is. I'm not a psychologist again. I'm just telling you, it's going to keep on happening, and these stories are going to go on and on and on. And why people are not as shocked about, or more shocked about, Michael Wayne Jones Jr. than they are Christopher Watts is beyond me. He beat his wife to death with a baseball bat. He drowned 2 kids, put kitty litter on him in the living room, and then waited 2 weeks. Well, no, he strangled 2 and then put kitty litter on, and then waited 2 weeks and then killed his other 2 by drowning. 5 weeks almost total between killing his wife and the last ones. Christopher Watts did it all in one day, like that. He could have had a psychotic episode and not known what he was doing. Michael Wayne Jones Jr. actually sat across the street from the police department praying that somebody would come arrest him and stop him from killing his other 2 children. Why are people not outraged about that? I don't know. But let's move on and stick to this one. All right. What happens with the other creditors? Who's going to pay them? That the money that Shanann and Christopher Watts owed. Can he file bankruptcy from prison? That's a real simple one to answer. When it comes to other creditors, they know that they like Visa and the Homeowners Association and so many others, they know the likelihood of them ever getting a dime of their money is very, very, very little. I mean, it's like less than 1% that they're ever going to get their money. And the same thing goes with the school, what was owed to the school, and everything else. They know this. So what they're going to do is they're going to write off their total amount that is owed to them, plus attorney's fees and everything else. They'll write it off on their taxes as a loss. And they're just going to give up. They're not even going to try to get the money, because when it comes to people who are going to pay, who are going to collect any money, it's going to be the Rooschek family first. They're first in line. They went after Christopher Watts, and they're going to get anything that comes into his account first. And then if he lives long enough to pay all them, to pay the Rooscheks off from their civil suit, the next in line is the state of Colorado. And he owes them, I think the last estimate I saw was right around $200,000. Right in there is what he owes them for his incarceration, food, medical care, psychological care, the attorney's fees, all of it. The entire thing encompassed, it's about $200,000. He's never going to pay that. He's never, unless some rich benefactor sends in a whole lot of money, which the prison system would stop, because they do have a cap on how much money maximum can be received from one individual per month being sent into his account. Even if they wanted to do that, send all the money into him, the chances if it ever getting to that point, and then later on, those other creditors, if they wanted to, like the Homeowners Association, they could technically sue Chris. Can he file bankruptcy from prison? He could. Anybody can, as long as he had assets. You have to have assets and debts to file bankruptcy. And he doesn't have any. And is there enough time that's been lapsed? I know people are going to ask this between their bankruptcy and now. And yes, there is. He could file an amended if it's even within the to the point where he couldn't file it individually. He can amend the original bankruptcy. But it's a good question. It's just, there's no chance that he can do a bankruptcy with no assets. All of it's gone. All right, next. Can Nicole Kissinger profit from the story in either a book or a movie deal? Absolutely. She can positively, absolutely profit from anything. She could start selling merchandise with Christopher's name on it and, little hearts all over it, for Valentine's Day. She could make a movie. She could, become a porn actress or whatever she wants, and call her, herself the Black Widow, Watts killer or whatever she wants. There's nothing stopping her from profiting off of this, because she's never been charged with a crime. There are laws on the books that stop someone who commits a crime from profiting from their crime. Since she's never been prosecuted, never been charged with the crime, she can profit from this 100%. And if she decides that she wants to write a book and tell a tell-all book, and confess to it, they could use that book and that confession in the book to maybe look at opening up charges against her. It wouldn't be the brightest thing for her to do, but she could. But then again, we know she's not the most brightest individual. She already got involved with Christopher Watts and all this. So, but yes, she could profit from a movie or book deal. Will Chris Watts stay in Dodge Correction Center, or will he be moved eventually? The likelihood is that Christopher Watts is going to stay in Dodge Correction Center for the remainder of his life. Now, they could move him to Wampum or if there ever arises an issue with security with him staying at Dodge. But otherwise, he's going to stay in Dodge Correction Center until he dies. Will he be moved down in classification from security? He's in a maximum security prison, and he's already has the lowest level of security, like restrictions, that is on a prisoner within a maximum security prison. So, yeah, he's not going to be put into general population or anything like that. He'll stay exactly where he is in the housing units that he is for the rest of his life, because he is a target, and he's always going to be a target. Next, has Tammy from the CBI had any other high-profile cases? Well, it depends on what you consider a high-profile case. Has she been called in on other murder cases? Yes. Has she dealt with other cases that are shocking, where a parent killed a child? I don't know. Wasn't able to actually find that, but she has. She's got a long career. She's damn good at what she does. Has she been? It all depends on what you consider a high-profile case, I guess. It would be the answer to that question. Next, has anyone ever confirmed that that the social media accounts on YouTube are really the accounts of Frank Sr. and Jr.? That speaking of the roost checks. Now, I have never been shown the actual evidence that either one of those two accounts belong to either Frank or Junior. If I had to, I would say that the Junior's account is probably more real than Frank Senior's. Now, what do I base that on? I base that on the timing of the video where he came out and told people to leave the family alone, to stop harassing the family, and then immediately right afterwards, the Facebook account was opened, and so was the YouTube account. Well, the YouTube account was already open, but it was changed. And then that person, if it is Frank Sr., started to pick fights with individuals against each other, making comments like, hey, listen to this person, this is not true, calling people out for what they may be saying, or telling people that they're not right, and then 100% supporting content that is up here, that is so pro roost check and biased, I guess, reporting on the case, and never commenting or wanting to deal with anybody in the gray area or in the real negative. Well, I mean, there are a couple of people down the real negative, but nobody in the gray area, but the real super, supportive individuals. Could it be? Sure. It definitely could be him. It definitely could be Junior. I don't know why they would jump onto social media right after they asked the world to leave them alone. So I never was able to, I've asked, I've sent messages that, one person commented on a couple of videos that I made, Frank Sr., supposedly. When I tried to reach out and get a reply back from that individual never replied back. I was given an email address, supposedly by somebody else who said that this was his actual email address, and I did an actual web search of the email address on the ISP that it came from. And well, I think someone was trying to bullshit me and bullshit the entire true crime community by saying that was Frank Sr. That's my feeling. I can't prove it. It's just like Junior. I can't prove it. That's not him. They could both be them. And as far as I know, that really they could be them, or it could be complete, made up. I don't know. I really don't know. I've never been shown an ounce of evidence that proves that either one of the two counts are really theirs. Until I'm actually shown that information, and to answer your question, I won't believe it. Now, has anybody ever confirmed it? It's not as far as I know. And I know people on every aspect, the people who are friends with AD over here on this side, to the people who are way over here on the far end who believe that everything is a conspiracy and that little gray men are controlling my mind right now. I know people from both spectrums on the ends of it all who've followed the the entire Roost saga and the Watts case and the and everything else in both families and read the books. I know people from both sides. I won't call this one a friend and I won't call this one a friend, but I know people and I can talk to them on both sides and I can do it with an open mind. And none of them have been able to confirm that those accounts are real. No, and then nor do they know of anybody else over here who can be able to say that this account is not real, or this it's not real, or it's real. Nobody knows. So that's the answer to your question. All right, that's going to be it for the second part of the Christopher Watts questions about the case. Again, if you have questions, please put them down in the comment section. I read the comments on so many videos, and I don't have a chance necessarily to read, to reply back to them, but I do read the comment section, especially like, the first couple, 3 hours after a video is uploaded. I try to read and reply back to as many comments as I can. But understand, in a given 30 days, I get between 6,000 to 9,000 messages and replies to, videos. And that's counting, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, all social media, and then here on YouTube. I'm 6,000 to 9,000 messages on my video content every month. There's no way I can possibly keep up with the way it is. And I know when these Christopher Watts videos come out, I get inundated with an even larger influx of messages across the board. Thank you again for watching. And thank you to each and every one of you out there who has supported my content over the year. And I hope to see you, and grow our relationship more in 2020. You stay safe out there, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas, happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you, and happy and safe New Year. Until next time.